Elena had always believed that life followed a simple path. Work hard, stay loyal, keep going. For 20 years, she had worked in a small workshop in her village. She repaired wooden furniture and made simple things with her hands. It was not a rich life, but it was hers. Then, one morning, everything changed. The workshop closed. Just like that, Elena lost her job. She stood outside the locked door, staring at it. For the first time in years, she had no idea what tomorrow would look like. She went home and found an old letter from her mother. Her mother had written it years before she died. There was one sentence Elena had never understood. When a door closes, do not decide too quickly that you have lost your way. Elena shook her head. What does that even mean? She was angry. She did not want lessons. She wanted her old life back, but there was nothing left to return to. So Elena packed a small bag and left the village. On the road, she met an old man sitting beside a broken cart. He noticed her sadness. "You look like someone who has lost something," he said. "I lost my work." The old man nodded. "And you think that is the end?" "I don't know what else it could be." He smiled. Sometimes we understand an event only after the story has continued. Elena did not understand, but she remembered his words. By sunset, she reached a small town. She had very little money and nowhere to work. After asking around, she heard about an old woman named Mara, who needed help at home. The next morning, Elena went to Mara's house. Mara opened the door. "You are looking for work?" "Yes. I need someone who can cook, clean, and keep quiet." Elena smiled. "I can do 2 of those." For the first time in days, she laughed. Mara let her in. Inside the house, Elena noticed something unusual. On a wooden table stood dozens of beautiful carvings: birds, horses, small houses. Elena picked up a wooden bird. "Who made these?" Mara looked at it. "I did." "You are an artist." "I was." Elena looked at her. "Why did you stop?" Mara's face became quiet. "Because sometimes losing someone makes you lose the part of yourself that created." Elena understood that feeling, more than Mara knew. That evening, Mara showed Elena an old locked room. "It has been closed for years," she said. Elena looked inside. Tools covered the dusty tables. Mara handed her a small piece of wood. "Tomorrow, we begin." "Begin what?" Mara smiled. "Finding out what you can become." Elena did not know it yet, but the life she thought she had lost was about to lead her somewhere completely different. The next morning, Mara taught Elena how to carve wood. At first, Elena was terrible. She pressed too hard. She tried to force the wood into the shape she wanted. Mara stopped her. "Don't fight it." "But I know what I want it to become." "That's the problem." Mara pointed to the lines in the wood. "Sometimes you have to follow what is already there." Elena laughed. "Are you talking about wood or life?" Mara smiled. "Both." Days passed. Elena slowly improved. For the first time since losing her job, she stopped thinking about what had gone wrong. She simply worked. One afternoon, a young boy arrived carrying a broken wooden horse. "My father made this," he said. "Can you fix it?" Elena repaired the broken leg. When she gave it back, the boy smiled. "Thank you." He ran away. The next day, another person came, then another. Soon people began bringing old chairs, toys, boxes, and family treasures. Elena realized something. They were not only bringing broken objects, they were bringing memories. One evening, an old woman brought a wooden box that had belonged to her husband. She started crying while Elena repaired it. "Thank you," she whispered. Elena understood that she was doing more than fixing wood. She was helping people hold on to pieces of their past. Slowly, The workshop became alive again, but Alina still wondered whether she belonged there. Then, one afternoon, a letter arrived. It was from her old village. The workshop had reopened. They wanted Alina back. They offered her the same job. She stared at the letter for a long time. This was what she had wanted when she left. Her old life was waiting for her. That night, she asked Mara, "What should I do?" Mara did not answer. Instead, she asked, "If nobody judged you and nobody was disappointed by your choice, where would you want to be?" Alina looked down. "I don't know." Mara smiled. "Then don't decide tonight." The next morning, Alina walked beside the river. She remembered the day the workshop closed. Back then, she thought losing her job meant losing her future. Now she wondered if it had simply changed her direction. She looked at the water. It never fought the stones. It moved around them. And suddenly, she understood what Mara had been teaching her. Maybe life was not asking her to return to the road she had lost. Maybe it was asking her to discover another one. That evening, Alina wrote her answer. She thanked the village, but she said no. She would not return. For the first time, Alina was choosing a future she could not predict, and she was terrified. But beneath the fear, she felt free. Alina stayed with Mara. Together, they reopened the old workshop. People continued coming. Children brought broken toys. Families brought old wooden treasures. And Alina slowly became known as someone who could repair things others had given up on. But Mara had another secret. One evening, she took Alina into a hidden room. Inside were old tools, letters, and unfinished carvings. "My daughter made these," Mara said. Alina looked at the wooden figures. "What happened to her?" "She died many years ago." Mara explained that her daughter had once dreamed of building a place where people could bring broken things and leave with something whole. But she never had the chance. Alina looked around. "Is this why you kept everything?" Mara nodded. "I thought I was keeping her memory alive." She paused. "Maybe I was waiting for someone to finish what she started." Before Alina could answer, a stranger arrived. His name was Daniel. He carried an old wooden box. When Alina saw it, her heart stopped. It belonged to her mother. "Where did you get this?" Daniel looked at Mara. "She asked me to bring it when the time was right." Alina turned toward Mara. "You knew my mother?" Mara nodded. "Many years ago, your mother worked here." Alina opened the box. Inside was a letter. Her hands trembled. She recognized her mother's handwriting. She began to read. "My dear Alina, if you are reading this, something has probably changed your life. I wish I could tell you exactly what to do. But life does not always show us the whole road. Sometimes it only gives us the next step. If a door closes, don't spend your whole life trying to force it open. Look around. There may be another door. When I left this place, I thought I was leaving one life behind. But I carried its lessons with me. I built another life. I loved your father. I raised you. And I learned that there is no perfect road. There is only the road we choose and the life we build on it. If you lose something one day, don't let the pain convince you that your story is finished. Keep walking. One day, you may look back and understand why you had to leave. With all my love, Mother." Alina cried. For years, she had wanted her mother to tell her what to do. Now she understood. Her mother had never wanted to choose for her. She wanted Alina to learn how to choose for herself. Alina looked at the old workshop, the broken toys, the wooden birds, the people who had trusted her. And suddenly, she realized something. She had not found this place by accident, but she also understood that life was not a perfect plan. Not every painful event had a secret reason. Some things simply hurt. What mattered was what she chose to do afterward. Mara placed a hand on Elena's shoulder. Now you understand. Elena wiped her tears. What? That losing your old life did not mean losing yourself. Elena smiled. For the first time, she believed it.
The next morning, Elena opened the workshop early. Sunlight entered through the old windows. She placed 2 wooden birds on the front table. One had been made by her mother many years ago. The other was the first bird Elena had ever carved. They looked almost identical. 2 women, 2 lives, 1 lesson. People slowly began arriving. A child brought a broken toy. A farmer brought an old chair. A woman brought a box that had belonged to her father. Elena listened to every story. Sometimes she could repair the object. Sometimes she could not. But she always listened. Years passed. The little workshop became a place where people came not only to repair things, but to remember, heal, and begin again. Elena never became rich. She never became famous. But she became something she had never expected. She became useful in a way that mattered to her. One afternoon, a young woman entered the workshop carrying a small suitcase. She looked frightened. "I lost my job," she said. Elena smiled. "So did I. I don't know what to do now." Elena poured her a cup of tea. "You don't have to know yet." The woman looked confused. "But I'm scared." "I was too." Elena looked at the wooden birds. "I thought losing my job was the worst thing that had ever happened to me." "What happened?" Elena smiled. "It brought me here." She pointed around the workshop. "But I learned something important." "What?" "Don't decide too quickly what an ending means." The young woman listened. Elena continued. "Sometimes a door closes because you failed. Sometimes it closes because the place was no longer meant for you. And sometimes," she looked toward the open door, "you only understand why after you have walked away." That evening, Elena went to the river. The water moved quietly around the stones. She thought about the road she had taken, the workshop she had lost, the town she had entered, Mara, her mother, the letter. Everything had changed. But Elena no longer needed every event to make sense. She had learned to live without knowing the whole answer. She looked at the river and smiled. She finally understood the lesson hidden inside her mother's words. Life is not always about controlling what happens. It is about choosing what you do with what happens. You can grieve. You can be afraid. You can miss what you lost. But you can still take the next step. Because one closed door does not mean there are no doors left. And one painful chapter does not mean the story is over. Maybe the road you never wanted is the road that takes you somewhere you were meant to discover. Maybe the thing you thought was taking your life apart was quietly changing its direction. And maybe one day you will look back and realize you were not lost. You were simply being led somewhere you could not see yet. Moral: do not judge your whole story by one painful chapter. A closed door is not always a punishment. A loss is not always the end. And you do not need to see the entire road before taking the next step. Sometimes the meaning of a journey only becomes clear after you have walked it. So if life has closed a door for you, allow yourself to grieve. Then look around, take a breath, and when you are ready, keep walking. Because the road ahead may be carrying something your old life never could. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share. Tell me in the comments what story you'd like to hear next. Your ideas inspire our next story.